You're listening to the Punisher Waterfowls, the Union 0430 podcast, brought to you by Real Geese Decoys, the most technological advanced silhouette decoys on the market, and Vortex Canada, the force of optics.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Another week without the Mr. Damien. I don't know if he's ever coming back, but we will know soon.
Sure should hope he does.
Yeah, so do I, because holy fuck, it's a lot of work.
Dave's
Anyway,
sweating bullets.
What's that?
Dave's sweating bullets here.
Yeah, this hosting isn't my gig. Oh well. So this week, there's just the three of us. We've got Mr. Phil coming out of the Schwa.
Still, another couple weeks.
For a couple more weeks. And we've got Ryan Bro coming from out east. Break off. Yeah.
Break off. The most East Coast thing you can say.
Yeah. So
rocking the Space Invader.
There you go.
A few things to talk about before we get into the episode. Number one, I don't know if anyone else saw it, but just like Mr. Phil's shirt is, Ducklander Calls has released a Punisher Waterfowl limited edition call. It is on their website currently. You can check out their Facebook. They're both going to be the ivory white look with the black Punisher label on them. One's the Fuse and one's the Loud Timber, I believe.
Yes.
Tone boards. Yeah. So both excellent. I don't have the Fuse here, but I have the LT, and it's an awesome call. So if you're looking for a new call and you want that Punisher logo on it, check out Ducklander Calls. It's a nice looking call.
Not only do they look amazing, but they sound amazing, which is my
super sexy.
Yeah.
The second thing I wanted to mention, coming up, there's posters out now. Ducks Unlimited is doing a Waterfowl 101 seminar through Zoom. The dates will be September 13th and September 20th. It's going to be something for everybody. There's going to be a session on calling with Rusty Heron, who's been on this show before. Great guy. He's going to teach duck and goose calling. We're going to have Jordan Stone coming from Sheetwater Kennels, and he's going to be talking about dogs and dog training. And then us from here at Punisher are going to be doing a talk about scouting, and then another talk about decoys and decoy placement. Two big topics, and we're hoping to cover a lot of ground. Check out Ducks Unlimited Canada and sign up for that. Boys, with all that stuff out of the way, early season's about to start. How's things looking your ways?
Dismal.
Yeah.
Because with my move and the kids starting in a new school and schedules and this and that, I will be taking my kids to school every morning from my house up to Port Perry. And there goes my early season. She gone.
Yeah. How about birds? Many birds up your way?
Oh, there's a ton.
Yeah.
Like seeing flocks nonstop. Like where I live, like I'm in your typical suburbia subdivision. And down the bottom of my street, there's actually two drainage ponds. They're like the street runoff ponds, whatever you want to call them. There's one that's significantly larger than the one that's actually at the very bottom of my street, and like it'll hold regular season be nothing to see 300, 400, 500 geese in there. And I've been seeing like numbers slowly creeping up, every week, a couple more here and there. And those two are like right up. I could probably stand on my driveway and pop a limit. Neighbors might get pouty, but whatever.
Yeah.
Well, numbers are starting to creep up. It's good sight.
I was going to come on here tonight and be like, there's not much up. We have man-made ponds behind our house. And I was going to come on and be like, there's like a flock of 5 or 10 maybe in there right now. And normally by now we'd have way more than that. And then sure as shit, before we started this up tonight, I go outside and I'm cleaning up the truck and I hear them coming off the lake, and there's a flock, great big flock. So here's hoping that they come big numbers for us up here. So Ryan, what about you? When does your season start and how's the birds looking there?
We open on the 7th. So a week from this coming Tuesday, which is crazy when I say that. We just hard to believe it's here. It always seems to sneak up on you. I've got a field, like we're not the hottest flyway in the world for geese, but our early season, year after year, the goose population is slowly, steadily climbing. We've got a cut grain field, a massive cut grain field. It's got about 300 in it. So they've been in there for about 2 weeks now. The farmer is starting to pull the bales out of the field. So I'm kind of watching how that's going to disrupt them. But just two things to keep in mind this time of year for anybody who's listening, like early goose season. One, they're going to stick to their grain field. So keep your eye on your wheats and your barleys and stuff like that. And two, they're flying with their young. So generally target your grain fields that are close to what are habitual roosts. They're not going to fly far. They're not going to fly over a mile. They're going to fly well within that. So just kind of keep an eye out. Those are probably your hot fields. So that's the situation I got. I've got a big wide open grain field, probably 3/4 of a mile from a roost, and they're all packed in there, probably 300 family groups, lots of family groups. So spread out all over the place, but we'll deal with that come the morning of the 7th.
So with that, like when you set up your decoys in a field like that, do you kind of match what you've been seeing all these last couple of weeks? Like, or normally you talk about guys doing a great big U shape and having a ton of birds out there, but I've heard some people like they'll use little patches of family groups kind of.
Yeah, I kind of do that too, I guess. Like, you're gonna, I mean, they're the easiest decoying birds you're gonna get all year. It's only gonna get harder from here on in, but yeah, I do like to kind of I do a big mass around the blinds, depending if we're in layouts or if we're hunting back. And the plan is if the bales are still there, we'll use the bales. We'll probably put an A-frame in between the bales or something like that, or we'll roll 2 bales tight together and put an A-frame in front of it. And then we'll just kind of we'll put family groups up in front of us and just kind of make a keel hole in the center and just hope for the best. It's so you do what you think is going to work, but at the end of the day, they're the wild birds and they're going to do what they want. So
yeah, and those A-frames are they're pretty key for having a good morning. I find I enjoy hunting out of an A-frame more than anything now.
The versatility that they offer, like in certain situations, are just unreal. I mean, there's lots of different brands and makes and models, and now there's way more in the market than say 5-6 years ago. But I find myself using it or looking for situations to use it more because I enjoy it more. I've got a 5-year-old son I'm going to take out this year with me. Like, it's going to be fun for him. It's big enough that we can cook a breakfast in the blind. They're a great tool to have. They're a must have if you're going to get serious into it.
Now, early season for geese, when you're in a wheat field, how do you grass your blind in? Because I know some guys some guys even put just the raffia on their A-frames or whatever, or the fake grass just all the time. Other guys will try and every single time they're out, they'll cut and put local vegetation in. How do you guys run it out where you are?
Yeah, for a layout blind, I'm looking at look where the combine was loaded onto you find these little patches in the field where the combine was putting grain into a dump truck or something like that. You're going to find overspill. Look on the edges and soft spots. Maybe the combine couldn't cut as well and just stuff got knocked over. When you go through a grain field, when you see a grain field still standing uncut in the late season, you'll see patches will fall over. The heads get too big and they get saturated. They'll literally fall over. That's hard for the combine to pick up and miss a lot of it. So when you find those patches, it's literally crop just laying there. So that stuff is good. And that's really useful when you're going to turn around and put it on your layout blind.
Yeah. And whenever new hunters come up to me and talk to me about using an A-frame blind in a situation like a cornfield or a wheat field or anything, they're always like, how does this work? I don't understand. Why they get the whole, a layout blind where you're laying down, but for an A-frame, they don't understand. And I said, well, find a field with a great big ass rock or a great big tree in it or a tree stump. And then look, when they go around with they're not going to try and cut a perfect circle like you would with your lawnmower. They're going to be efficient. They might lose a little bit of crop out of it, but they're going to be efficient. And there's going to be like standing grass or standing something there. Try to match that. Try to look at what that looks like. That's how I try to explain it to new people, but that's just me. I don't know. You guys might have some better thoughts.
There's been many of fields that I've hunted in. Like the birds are used to seeing clumps of vegetation. And there was actually one particular field, I think it was actually the very first field I ever got permission on, like 15 something years ago. There was a wellhead in the middle of the field. Farmer would cut around it. And what would grow up? Just like nonsense, weeds, grass, whatever the hell was there. And there's been times where I've actually, because of wind direction, the field was like a long rectangle, north and south. And that wellhead was probably in like, say, like the bottom third or so. And there was a time where we hunted that field and there was a raging south wind. I went and sat up in the wellhead and faced north. And we smashed limits. I was like, that wellhead's been there for umpteen years. It ain't going nowhere. That grass has been there for whatever, right? You use what's available. And there's been times where I've run, and like I learned this from another hunter guy I used to hunt with, where I would smack an A-frame in the center of like a wheat field full of grass, weeds, whatever the hell was around for vegetation. And birds ate it up. Didn't give two shits. We're crushing Canada's 10, 15 yards. You just spend the work, you brush it in properly, you get that, the shooting hole covered up good. So there's not just that big black hole as the birds are flying over and they can look down like, hey, look, there's 3 hunters. And away we go. You spend that extra couple minutes in the morning, you brush it up nice and tight, and you'll shoot birds. And I've yet to see birds get right wiggy, being out there in like an A-frame or 2 panel blinds back to back, like they did not care.
I mean, I pride myself on like, taking the time, make sure we're good and hidden. But Mark, who's not here tonight, takes it to a whole different level. Like he's in that same realm of like, make sure, you're hidden well and every nook and cranny is covered. Plus he has OCD and he's a perfectionist. So you put that package, you put that package together and you got somebody who's very specific and precise about everything they do. And I've hunted with Mark a lot and I know how meticulous he is about that stuff, but that pays big dividends like in the long run. Some people kind of want to bitch and moan about doing that kind of stuff, but I mean, every one of those loopholes, I've seen him go into Cabela's and be like, there's not enough loops on that layout blind. That's not a good layout blind. And he's right. Like it's not enough to hide your blind. Right. So just stuff like that. He's anal about it, but it matters for sure.
And like one thing I do, like I used to run an A-frame. I'm now transitioned to 2 panels. They got grassed up. Okay. When did I buy these things? Last year before, whenever I got them. And they got grassed up. They've stayed grassed up the whole time. So like they've got a reasonable amount of vegetation on them currently as they sit out in my shed. So get into early season, I'll leave that stuff on there. I may rip out a couple handfuls there, here and there, and I'll add some fresh stuff that's still green. Because like as you get in September, things are starting to die, but there's still, a good level of like green vegetation. I will mix that green stuff in with the dead stuff that's already there. You get a good color transition. It blends in well. And then obviously as time goes on throughout the season, that green stuff dies off. She's all brown like everything else. And, you're good to go, right? And then just as the season goes on, I'll add, some pieces here and there, obviously for the top, to cover the shooting lane. But like they get grassed once fully and then that's it. Just, add some pieces here and there as we go. And it saves work come, when you're out there first thing in the morning, you're scrambling, getting decoys set up, this and that. It's just one less element you have to spend so much time on.
Yeah. I forget what I was going to ask you because I was just bang on. Good little topic there, boys. Oh.
Good start. We don't need no noofs. We don't need any noofs here.
Yeah, exactly. So when obviously you prefer the A-frames now or the panel blinds now, do you do the top bar on them to keep them together, or do you have the 2 individual stakes? Which way do you go with that?
I bought the cross pieces from Pat.
Yep.
Pat Canadian Waterfowl Supplies.
Yep.
I guess this would be my third season now with them. So the first season I didn't have the crossbars, and it was still good for like manipulating them. Like there's the bars that are inside that kind of drop down, which can be a bit of a pain trying to like you can shoot 3 comfortably. It's a bit of a pain trying to get a 4th in there because of those crossbars, like drop bars.
Yeah. But
like it really helps with wind. And I say honestly, that's the one big advantage that the A-frame has over the panels is wind stability, because it's one big unit, right? But like with the panels, I got those crossbars, and it really helps keeping them together and add some rigidity to them, and they're adjustable. So if you want to space the front panel and the back panel out a little further, you can, and like the bars snap in, they lock, like the little tension screw locks them out. You just have to be considering, adding more cover across that top row to keep, the top covered up. Yeah. But if you're lucky or like in some situations that dictate where you got to have them tight, you can snug them right up. You just got to be mindful of coming up and getting your barrel out in a safe direction, not hanging up on things. But the versatility I find with the panels is way better. Like I can run the 2 panels back to back as an A-frame, or put them side by each in a fence row. If you have back covers non-issue, then you can run 6 guys or 7 guys, and then run a dog, run 2 dogs. Even some spots where I diver hunt from shore, run 1 panel right in front of you and just sit behind it, and the birds eat it up.
Yeah.
So a lot of big benefits to the panels. The A-frame still a solid option. But just, for the things that I do, I would much rather run the 2 panels instead.
Yeah. Now, when you are in a panel blind, how do you guys have your gun? Are you sitting there on your stool with your gun beside you, or do you put them across the top of the 2 blind?
I rest it on the crossbar, the butts on the ground.
Yep.
And then I'll put the barrel in the corner between the panel and that bar that's coming across my shoulder.
Yeah. So when you pop up, you're coming up with your gun, right?
Yeah. Barrel's already yay high up out of the blind to start with.
Yeah.
I like having positive control of my shotgun as I'm coming out. So I've got 2 hands on it. I've got my finger indexed. I'm coming up, out, standing up, and I'm shouldering as I'm coming to my, full foot. So.
Yeah. Because I hunted with a guy last year, and he actually rested his gun across the 2 top bars, and I spent.
I don't think there's anything wrong. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I think you're not as quick. It's safe. There's nothing wrong with it, but just to me, I want to get the gun out there and shoulder as fast as possible too.
Sometimes I find what I'll catch myself doing is if the birds are coming and they're going to eat it up, like they're on their way, feet down into the kill hole, I'll actually pick the gun up and rest the butt on my knee. And have the barrel sticking, they're not going to notice the barrel sticking up out of the grass, because both my shotguns are camoed, and they're a color that'll blend in with the grass. And I'll actually hold the butt stock with the recoil pad on my knee. Yeah. So as you're coming up, again, that gun's already half out of the blind, as opposed to the barrel just being yay much, right? And it just, as you're coming up, as you're standing, the gun's coming up already. You get it into the shoulder, you get your finger on the safety, and then have at her. Give them the good news.
Yep. And that is a little bit of a safety thing. I wanted to mention, I can't count. Unfortunately, I can't count how many times I've seen it in an A-frame or a panel blind where when you are resting it against that frame, that top crossbar in front of you, make sure you've got control of it. If you have a crossbeam coming over your shoulder, rest it in that corner, because I can't count, unfortunately, how many times I've seen somebody lose control and the gun slides off the crossbar and falls down, and then it hits the ground and it's pointing somebody's blind bag or somebody's ankle. So just be cognizant of that at least. Make sure you're trying to maintain positive control. I call a lot, so I'm always trying to find. I'm usually on one of the outsides because of the dog or calling, so I always try to nestle it into a corner, so it's not as fast to get out of it, get it out of that, but it's safer. It's not going to fall down and slide, and my barrel's not going to be pointing at somebody's foot if the gun falls over. So
muzzle integrity.
Roger that.
Okay.
That's a Texas size 10 foreskin.
What's that?
That's a Texas size 10 foreskin.
Yeah. So another thing that we do that's a little bit different, I don't know what you guys do, but if there's ever someone going out walking in front of the blinds or even just walking outside of the blind area, we actually have started doing where you'll have your shell sticking out perpendicular just in your barrel or in your chamber there, perpendicular. So like the gun's up here and you've got it just out. We started doing that back when we started taking a lot of youth out and first time hunters, and it just made it easy. Like, okay, guys, get your guns that way. And they'd all do it. My kid does it now. Like, and you can see visually that shell's in the way and it's not loaded and they're not ready. It's an easy, quick indication for everybody. And it seems to be a lot safer in my mind, but do you guys kind of do something along the same lines?
For times where we're like in an A-framer panel, just guns in the blind, barrel up, and obviously being like, one that runs a dog on a nonstop basis, regardless of who I'm hunting with, whether it's first time guys or, 15, 20-year veterans, guys, the dog's out there doing his thing, guns are down. Don't worry about cripples, save your ammo. That's why we bought Fido, so that little fucker can run out there and pick up birds, because my days of chasing cripples are long over. But yeah, like, I'll tell you guys, like, if you shoot birds, don't worry about shooting cripples. Just put your gun down, barrel up, just leave it. Or if we're doing a layout blind shoot and, we're up and, if whether we're running a dog and we're still helping the dog to grab birds a little faster, or if we're not running a dog, guns go in the layout blind, barrel pointing out the pillow. So over your, towards the back, yeah, as opposed to towards the kill hole, right? Like I've been unfortunate where, I'll bring up this story actually. So a number of years ago, was only into waterfowling a handful of years or so, and a buddy of mine who Ryan knows lives out his way now. We're hunting up on Canal Lake, hunting a shore blind that's been there for God knows how many years. So I've always been like stupid safety minded. My father has pounded the shit out of this into my thick skull since I could walk. Treat every gun as if it's loaded. Safety doesn't mean shit, because safety's can fail. Keep your goddamn bugger hook off the boom lever, right? So we're in this blind. It's like clearly a couple sheets of plywood. We're on fucking lawn chairs sitting behind it. Guns laying up, like sitting on the ground, like same way like it should be in like a panel or an A-frame. Butts on the ground, barrel up against the wood. And I would always I hadn't even touched the gun for 20 minutes. I'll reach down, check the safety, check the safety, check the safety. Flock of birds come in, and I think my buddy, he jumped up and dropped one or two, whatever the case is. There may have been a cripple. I grab my gun by the stock, so like the trigger's facing me. I grab the stock, bring the gun towards me, go to reach down and grab like the pistol grip, and the gun went off. And that barrel was like 12, 14 inches from my nose when it went off. You want to talk about pucker factor? My ass seized up tighter than a mouse's fucking sphincter in a windstorm. Like, let me tell you. Ryan's smiling. But yeah, like that was a fucking eye opener. And I was safe then. I'm fucking 10 times safe now. Like you can never be too safe when it comes to a firearm. And I cannot stress that enough. Whether you've been hunting 2 years or 40, you can never be too fucking safe.
And that goes in with, if you are in your blind, if you're in an A-frame and there's no birds in sight, and you look over and you see your buddy, his gun isn't on safe, tell him. And if you're the buddy and someone tells you, hey bud, your gun isn't on safe, there's no birds around, what are you doing? Put it on safe. Don't be offended. Just own up to it, because everyone is there to go home after the end of your hunt. So I remember the first time that happened to me, like many years ago, and I was like, who the fuck is this guy? And then I thought about it. I'm like, no, like this is just everyone trying to be safe, trying to get home. He's looking out for you. He's looking out for him and everyone else there. So just be respectful and look out for each other. Right.
And that's like another thing too. I'll tell guys, like, you're hunting with me, you're in my equipment, you're in my blind with my decoys, we're shooting the A-frame or the panel. You come up, safety doesn't come off until that fucking gun's shouldered.
Yeah. I have a buddy who had he had more than one safety infraction. Can't remember if they're in the same season or not, but they were relatively close together. and one will mess you up as an individual. It's, thankfully both times no one got hurt. But two, it rattled, like it got him to the point where he was like, he was getting excited. He was a newer hunter. He was, he just forgot the state of his weapon. And shit happened. Nobody got hurt, but the second time it happened, it got him to the point where he's like, you know what, this isn't fun for me. And he debated about just selling everything he had, and obviously the paramount is you don't want somebody to get hurt. But the other side of me is like, I don't want to see anybody. This is supposed to be fun. We're supposed to enjoy a lot of this. Like at this level of like everybody on the podcast, this is our passion. This is like a lifestyle to us. I would hate to see one of the five of us commit something like that where it got to the point where like, you know what, like I'm gonna sell all this. If it ever got to that point, it would suck. Like, so just be cognizant of the state of your shotgun, where your barrel's pointing. Like, we've all seen accidents in the field. It's going to happen. Like, it's inevitable, unfortunately. But like you guys said, like if you see somebody who has a safety still off, or you see like a safety infraction or issue, don't be like, prevent that situation from happening, because you might save somebody's life. You might save somebody's hunting passion. You don't know what's going to happen on the other side of it. So don't be quiet about it. Like there's no harm and foul. And if somebody can't take that, if it's too much of an ego shot to them, well, that's them. That's their problem.
There's the parking lot. Start walking.
Exactly. That's not a you issue. That's a them issue. So, it's the most important thing when we're out here having fun. So,
yeah, the angriest I've been lately in hunting was last year. I had a buddy up, him and his girlfriend, me and another guy, we're all out there. We set up really early because we had it was going to be like a crappy day. So we put out a lot of decoys just to have that visual effect, right? Put out all these decoys. We're all set up. It's still pitch black. We've got a light on and someone set up. We're in a marsh area. They set up 50 or 60 yards right in front of us in our shooting lane. And it's like, oh my God, like what the hell? I was a little upset. People, you got to think safety, not only yours, but the other hunters that are there. Think of everybody. We all want to go home.
Yep.
So, right. But what are you thinking about bird numbers this year, guys? Have you been listening to any of those like Delta reports or any of that? It sounded like they're talking about a low year for bird numbers, but
I haven't, but I have been hearing a lot of the drought in the prairies.
Yeah.
So not good for nesting, obviously. So that's going to have an effect. I can't remember what year it was. It wasn't that long ago. They had a real bad hatch of snow geese up north. And when the snow geese came through, there was like next to none juvies. It was just all like they didn't have, so it was pretty hard hunting. Like September felt a lot like April for those that have the conservation hunt when they come back up north. So hopefully they don't run into that this year. I don't know what like up north's been like, but yeah, I know out west they're going through a grind right now with the lack of water, and hopefully that's not affecting the farmers too much either. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
In fairness, a bad hatch year for the snows is not a bad thing.
That's a good point too. Yeah.
Like the devastation that they put on farmers' crops and stuff is just like it's bad enough here with the Canadas out in my area, but yeah, like you get out west and to some of the southern states, Missouri and Arkansas, like this, you'll get 200,000 snows in one field.
Yeah,
just wipe it out. Like if they're running like winter wheat or something, 2 days, she gone, entire crop.
Where I guide out west in Saskatchewan, the common farming practice is swaths. They'll lay swaths, so you're literally like laying down money on the field.
Yeah,
and
here's a big strip of food for you.
Right, exactly. So you've got all these. You can get like 40,000 snows rolling in, and they just literally jump swath to swath to swath. It's like an all-you-can-eat Chinese buffet for us. Like
It's like going to
just-
Mandarin.
Exactly. Welcome to the Mandarin. So,
Undo your top belt, your top button and the belt, and away we go.
buddy, you're making me hungry right now. But yeah, that's what it is. So they're seeing the dollar signs just go and go by all these like white devils. So I mean,
Yeah, I think the report, I was trying to watch it before the episode tonight, the fall one, and they were talking about North Dakota, South Dakota, and the conditions there, and how it's shaping up to be a bit of a rough year. So let's hope that's not true, but
Well,
we will
worst
see.
case scenario, I'll just go muskie fishing this fall.
Well, there you go.
Yep. got myself a brand new custom bait yesterday, so I'm excited to try that out.
There you go. Yeah.
I may actually sacrifice a day this fall, like in October, and go muskie trolling, like some big water. Try to break that 50-inch mark. We'll see. I bet Damien's going to be fucking spinning on Monday when he sees us talking about fishing on this show.
yeah.
We love you, Damien.
Fishing. You fucking guys talk about fishing.
Yeah.
Hey, being a coaster, they live off the fish, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
He probably thinks you're jigging for muskie.
No. Trolling big, dirty crankbaits.
Yeah, that's right.
So any big changes to the flocks this year, boys, or to your decoy spread? I mean,
Gonna pick up some real geese. Mark's. I don't know if I'll be allowed to put them out in the spread when Markovich comes east to hunt, but they'll be in the arsenal. But probably not much. I'm at the stage now where if I get any more, I need a trailer. So, but I kind of like not having a trailer, to be honest with you. I don't need a trailer. It's more of a want than a need. And for what I hunt and where I'm at, I don't live in Western Canada. I live on the East Coast, so I don't really
Eastern
need a
Canada.
trailer. Yeah, so I get by with what I do what I do pretty well for a guy without a trailer. So I'm good.
I want 2 of those new bags from Craig.
Those bags are
Yeah.
sweet.
2.
Those
I know-
bags are sweet.
Well, in fairness, as we sit here recording, there's a real geese bag hanging right there.
Yeah.
Now, like that's obvious. That's more geared towards like the Pro Series and stuff, like with the wooden stakes. But I've made do and use that for like my shadows, where I can just grab a handful. I just pinch the stakes at the bottom, and then like I didn't pack this bag on the last hunt. Someone else did, so all the stakes are fucking pointing up. But you can see, there we go. That's better. You can see the hole there where the wooden stakes go down. I'll just grab a handful of decoys, pinch the stakes together, and down they go, and it works just fine.
I have a couple farmers
And
who are
overcome.
like strict no trucks rule, and because they have like irrigation down or whatever, and so just the thought of like rolling in with 5-6 dozen of silos in a bag right now, it's just like makes my heart flutter. So
Like my only issue is like the wheat fields where you got to do a walk in, and that's where the silo. I got silos in 3 bags, and usually there's like 3 or 4 of us. So everyone just grab a bag, start walking, go 200 yards that way.
Yeah.
So
it's definitely a different feeling. Like when we had one of those fields back when we only had full bodies. This is going back 3 or 4 years ago, and it was just me and my one buddy, and the farm. This was the field that you had to go to, but the farmer said don't drive in it. So we parked on the side road, and you had to walk the 200 yards in, but you're like looping the Bigfoots like on your shoulder, and you're only getting 6 at a time every trip, right? So multiple trips, and you take one bag like what's behind Phil there, and it holds 5 dozen silhouettes on one shoulder, an A-frame on the other shoulder, or your panel blind on the other shoulder, whatever. And you can walk in, go back, move the truck wherever you're going to park it out of the way, grab your gun and your decoy bag and your blind bag, walk back, and you're ready. Like that's all you need. So
sleds.
I was just gonna say I have an ice fishing sled right there. I don't ice fish. I use it for waterfowling, And you don't need snow on the ground. Like a wheat field, that thing will go just as well across a cut wheat field as it will a snowy field. So
Yeah,
I forgot about my ice
I've got a
fishing sled.
monster. I think it was made by Rapala. And yeah, it's like a monster sled. Like it's probably twice the size of that standard like jet sled that a lot of guys use. And yeah, like you can pile a shit ton of gear in it, and she'll slide like butter across stuff.
So now that you mention it, my sled actually last year, my loving darling wife, she got into gardening last year, and I came home one day and she's like, oh, that black tub thing you had back there, that was perfect for the tomato garden. Like, what do you mean? So I go back there and it's just full of fucking dirt and tomato plants. So love her to death, but don't touch my fucking sled. So
cute as pie, right?
Yeah. So
good thing she's pretty.
Good thing, yeah. So I actually just ordered some more real geese. Got another 5 dozen coming. And maybe we'll we talked about maybe some more giveaways coming up. Do you think?
Oh
yeah, I think maybe in the next episode or two we're gonna start doing a giveaway, but you'll kind of have to start listening to this podcast to get them. And we might give some hints on that Real Geese Decoys fan page. So if you're not subscribed to that Real Geese Decoys fan page, get subscribed, because you can't win if you're not a part of that for one of these events. I'm just throwing it out there.
Get at her.
Yeah. The other thing I want to say is Craig also talked about those decoy bags that they're making and gave an update today. And I think they might start doing a pre-order on them. So if you want to ensure you get one as soon as they're ready, or get in on that pre-order. That's just trying to help you guys out.
Yep.
I must admit, Dave, you do a far better job at like teeing stuff up like this than Damien does.
And just speaking English in general.
English is a key factor in all this as well.
My problem is that my ADD, I start like that last episode when we're talking about California and the border, and I was thinking about Mexico, but I said Texas, and I'm like, whatever, same shit. Who fucking cares? I just get going in my head,
right?
Yeah. They both have fucking hot. It's hot. Jesus.
Yeah.
So
it's true. It's all the same.
Yeah. No. So yeah, I just ordered another. That'll be 10 dozen silhouettes, and that'll be all we use. But with the kids, it's just way easier going that way.
Are you straight silos now?
I'm straight silos, nothing else.
Yeah. Cool.
And I even reduced my floater spread for my for the boat and the kayaks. I actually went to full lifetimes. I'm gonna have 3 dozen of them and a dozen Higdon battleships, and that's it. So yeah. I'm also switching to the Mojo stakes. I'm gonna use the stakes for the field, and then I got those the floating base ones. I got one of those for Christmas.
Very nice.
I don't know. See how that works.
I'll never not have full bodies. I just love them. Like I think they appease me more than they actually appease the wild birds. Like
yeah,
I don't know.
I actually have a dozen green headgear full bodies.
Those are my old time favorites
that I ordered from Rogers. Like, she's a long time ago. I was still living at home, I think, when I got those. So should be 12, 15 years ago. I ordered that dozen from Rogers. Still got them. Can't give them up.
Yeah.
I could probably, like, I've had those for like close to 15 years. I could probably sell those for more than what I paid for.
Yeah.
And they're used.
Yeah.
But I won't.
A long time ago, one of my girlfriends once bought me a dozen green headgear full bodies, like out of the blue. And she's now my wife. So just saying.
God bless her.
It's not always through the stomach to the heart.
Yeah.
Just throwing it out there.
An engagement decoy.
Engagement decoy. I have to tell her that when I go back in the house.
Yeah, that's good. No. So Philly, any big changes with your spread this year other than getting those 5 dozen? How about your floaters?
Nothing's changing for water.
No.
Still got like my whole pile of Dixies there for running the divers, and I got like my mixed stuff. Some other brands for pullers and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, water spread, nothing's changing. Running a new dog, if he's lucky. If he's lucky.
I do got to say, I think I owe you a big thank you for getting me into those Dixies, because my daughter was kind of like, oh, hunting's neat and I'll go with you, whatever. And then I ordered that dozen pack. I think I got a dozen bluebills and a 3-pack of canvasbacks.
Yeah.
And her and I sat there for like a week straight, just painting, and okay, we'll paint this part and then we'll let it dry and then we'll paint over it with the black and then we'll paint over. And we spent all that time. And then she's like, okay, when are we going to hunt with them? And it's like, oh, so I think that kind of got her interested in hunting the ducks.
Nice.
So it was right after that she went and got her hunting license. And so that's a fun, if anyone's looking for a fun project, look up those Dixie decoys. They show up. What I did personally was you clean off, like you de-wax them basically, just personally what I did. And then you paint over them with your white, your black. If you want to do a Toronto Maple Leaf themed one for your man cave, you can paint it however the hell you want.
Yeah.
But you can also let the kids paint it. Right. So yeah, that's just it. Like you'll get one flock and then you're done. But
yeah, Phil, are you oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, like just saying, like with the painting, like when I was painting my 5 dozen that I've got, like I had them laid out in the basement, and I'd like wife and kids would go to bed. I would go downstairs for an hour or two, pour myself a little sippy of something yummy, and yeah, I would do a coat of this. The next night, the second coat. Night after, okay, now we're doing like the bluebills and the reds and stuff, doing the black for the tail and the breast, and it's just you chip away it slowly, and like the whole flock comes to life. Next thing you're done and you're ready to fly, right, so to speak.
Yeah.
Phil, you got a new dog this year.
Yeah,
like
unfortunately.
I do, right?
Yeah, well, 2 years ago.
Well, first season though this year, first fall.
If he's lucky.
If he's lucky, yeah. So
yeah, I might still be running the old boy.
Yeah, wow, yeah.
He's still 9.5 years old. That old boy, he's still fucking pissing vinegar.
So that kind of brings me to another topic. An experienced guy in my hunt dog club had an 18-month-old dog on him pass away this week. I forgot to tell you guys before we went on record, from a heat injury. So really, like, for a lot of people who don't like, and this guy is an experienced guy, so he's got more experience than I do. So if you're unexperienced and this is the most dangerous time of the year, because especially in my neck of the woods, it's probably the peak of the heat season. I've got a young dog. She's 13 months right now, so she's never had a hunting season. It's very enticing that you want to train them and get them prepped for the season that's upcoming, but you got to respect the climate and the heat that you're in. And that's what happened, unfortunately, to him. He lost his dog. Well, this particular dog, he's got multiple. Yeah, I don't know the details of it, but he did do a post today. I remember it happened. What are we today? We're Thursday today. I think it happened on Sunday or Saturday, and then he posted today that it was indeed a heat injury. So obviously he feels pretty bad about it, but just gotta make sure you don't get jumped the gun. If you're gonna do dry land stuff, pick a cool night or get up early in the morning. Do when the temperature is respectable. Keep it short. Exactly. Like, if it is going to be a warm evening, maybe do some water training. And again, like Phil said, keep it short.
If you're eager to get out and train, go early morning, late evening, and do water.
Yeah.
You're not going to I'm not going to say like knock on wood, like I'm not going to say like you're not going to cause any damage, but like do water, especially this time of the year. If you've got some good training water, or you're just touching up on some simple marks, simple blinds, whatever, water is your friend, because dogs get into that water. It'll keep them cool. You can run it's obviously better if you're running multiple dogs, if it's you and a few friends, or if you yourself are running 2, 3, 4 dogs. You can cycle them through, do two sets or whatever drill you're running. be sure you're running fans in your kennels and towel your dog off. I got a handler's bag. I think it's back there behind my noggin somewhere. I carry like it's almost like a synthetic chamois. And even when I was running the Luther Hunt test there a few weeks ago, like when Zeus came out and I was going to put him back in the kennel, and I even I had a fan going in the kennel. Before he goes back inside, I take that chamois and I'll dry him off as the best I can, because that water will soak into the fur and it'll get hot, and then they'll get hot, and next thing you know, your dog's in distress, or worst case scenario, your dog's done. So cycle your dogs through, take it easy on them, tile them off, do whatever you can. Park your truck in the shade if it's feasible where you're training. Run fans, whatever you can do, but like don't push it. You know, it's a marathon, not a fucking race.
That's right.
So do you guys have like a dog first aid kit or anything for when you are hunting, or what do you guys do?
I do have stuff in my handler's bag, like when I'm training or competing. The handler's bag comes with me because it's got like my white jacket, my camo jacket, my whistles, duck calls, and other shit. But one of the biggest things I carry on top of a tick pen is a bottle of rubbing alcohol. If your dog overheats, dump that rubbing alcohol into their armpits or into their groin, and it'll pull a lot of the heat out of their body and it'll bring their temperature back down. A lot of people don't know that. Another thing too is if your dog ingests something and it shouldn't have, mustard. Dogs will vomit if they ingest mustard. It won't kill them, it'll just make them fucking puke. But if your dog's ingested something that they shouldn't have, like little condiment mustard packets, into the fucking mouth they go and they'll yak. I haven't tested that theory. I've been fortunate. So I've been told that they'll vomit off of mustard.
Never heard that one before.
Yeah.
What about for like if they step on something and cut their foot open? Do you bring like a rat pad or anything for that?
I don't have like a full like regular first aid kit. I do have a first aid kit in my boat in the case something happens, like obviously for a hunter injury. But there's nothing saying you couldn't jimmy rig something to work for the dogs and get them to a proper vet for care. But like in the field, if shit were to go south, leave the decoys to just walk.
Yep.
Get the dog in the truck, start driving.
Yep.
Yeah. Shit can go wrong like super easily. Like Damien, like Lander had, can't remember how many stitches, but went through a barbed wire fence, caught her, good for X amount of stitches. Oh God, Perry, we had Perry Blanky on, his dog literally just doing like a standard retrieve, and he tore something in his knee. I can't remember. It might have been his ACL. Season done. Like it happens. Like, so, I mean, when you're bringing a dog out to the field, that's an additional person on the hunt. Stuff can go wrong that you would normally not think of. So there's nothing wrong to prepare with that. Like, and you just asked the question, David. No, I don't have anything for my dog, but I should, like, 100%.
Yeah. I've seen Thor go through a barbed wire fence because there sure as shit ain't nothing stopping that goddamn dog for chasing a bird down. But he had a vest on.
Yeah.
And like I can look back at that vest, and I'm still running the same vest, that I bought like when he was a pup. And yeah, it's got tear marks in, and I look down and I can see it. Like, yep, that vest saved his ass, saved his hide from that barbed wire fence that day. Because like the driving that dog, like you ain't gonna stop him. He's going for a bird. He's chasing a cripple. You ain't gonna slow him down. And they're gonna go. Yeah. So like even just a simple thin neoprene vest, like during field hunts, whatever, can save you thousands. You spend $80, save you 800.
Yeah. Well, boys, I think we're at an hour. It's now 8:00. I guess we started late, didn't we? Whatever. Doesn't matter. That was another good informative episode, and I enjoy spending this time with you boys.
Is a good episode.
Yep. It helps when everybody on the episode can speak English.
Yes.
He's gonna come back and just fucking throw a fit. I miss him.
I
though.
hope so. It's good. It's good for entertainment value. I hope he does.
He's gonna swear in Newfoundlandese, and we won't understand a fucking word.
Oh,
It's fine.
So for all those people that don't know, Damien has actually been back at his home with his family visiting
Motherland.
his motherland. So my family's all from Scotland, and when my mom would go back to Scotland and visit her family there, when she would come home, her accent would be so goddamn thick, and she doesn't have an accent normally because she lives. I don't know how next week's episode is going to be, but we might not understand a word, and that'd be great.
I think we need to do an episode where it's just Mark and Damien, because either it's going to be like 3 people or 3,000. Like there'll be no, it's going to be amazing or not. Like there's no way around it.
Yeah, that'd be good. But no, thanks a lot, boys. We will pick this up again. For everybody that didn't hear those hints, make sure you are listening or subscribe to the Facebook group, Real Geese Decoys fan page. That's the biggest advice I can give you right now. As always, surround yourself with good people. Thanks a lot.
Before we close out,
Before
we close out, I'd like to give a big shout out to our favorite fan, Jeff Coates, today. Well, I guess so show's getting released Monday. So if it's Monday, like 5 days ago, you fucking get the picture. But shout out to Jeff. Posted a video today. Fronting the Punisher Waterfowl podcast on his phone. He's in the shop carving decoys. God bless that man.
Yeah. And he keeps talking to us about getting down and hunting, but until we know about this border, we can't confirm that. And it's getting frustrating because I want to get down there. I want to shake that man's hand because he has been a huge supporter.
I just want to drink Bird Dog.
And
feels like a 2022 option.
Yeah. I think a lot of our plans that we had for this fall are going to be 2022. And hopefully by then the border's open, but you never know. So like I said, surround yourself with good people. We will catch you guys again.